Former President Barack Obama did during his presidency. And the numbers show he actually
I'm with that.
Deported more immigrants out of this country than Trump did. Yet Biden comes into office in 2020 and he went completely against what Obama had done. You ever received intel explanation as to why he did that?
You know, that's a great question. You're the first ones to ask me that question, right? Now, I surmise, I have an opinion that I think this administration thought these millions of people are going to be future Democratic voters. But one of the things Biden also did, in addition to destroying all the programs we put in place to give us a more secure border, he overturned the Trump census rule, which means millions of people they've released in sanctuary cities will be counted in the next census, which is going to result in what? More seats in House for the damaged. So I truly believe they saw future political benefit from this. But you're
oh my God.
Those type of things. All right, so this may be, I think we have maybe one or two more videos. I saw this video. This is, I think, our dude Brandon Lehman. Yeah, he had make sure y'all check out Brandon Lehman's page. He's dope. He's got some good videos up. I love matter of fact, I'm jealous of his studio. I'm jealous of bro's studio. He got a cool little setup and does some good videos. He actually was at some of the Turning Point he's at some of the Turning Point events where they debate the college students. I'll be honest, man. I'd be a little nervous, man, debating those college kids, man. I wouldn't want to say anything. You get, the live debates with the kids, man. That can go left, but no, that seems like a fun thing to do. All joking aside, that seems like, I guess it could be a fun thing to do. It's just cool. It's just fun to hear other people's perspectives, to give your perspectives, and to have to respond in real time with things that support your stance on certain things. But let's take a look at this video. He's been highlighting a lot of the approval ratings by both the Democrats as well as the Republicans, bringing up a lot of these polls that show how the country's feeling about the direction of the country. Let's take a look at this video. It's a little bit longer. We're not going to go through everything, but at certain points, I think that we should pay attention to, and would love to get your thoughts on it. So we'll start that now.
Representative of Texas, by the way, one of the places impacted the worst by the illegal immigration crisis, actually defending bringing back gang members. Watch.
To deport undocumented Venezuelans that the administration say are dangerous individuals with ties to the gang Tren de Aragua. That gang is obviously associated with a lot of crime, human trafficking, drug dealing, theft, shootings, including in your state of Texas, right outside of your congressional district. Do you agree with this? And if not, what's your issue with the U.S. using any tool at its disposal to remove undocumented violent people from this country?
Well, my argument is that we already have tools that are available to remove undocumented violent people from our country. And so the idea that you want to go into a zombie law, this is kind of like what we saw in Arizona when they decided to revive a zombie law around abortion. It is the fact that we can't trust this administration to actually use a scalpel, but instead they love to use a butcher knife on things. And so giving them this wide latitude to just kind of go across and just claim that anybody is anything is wrong. And so we do have courts, we do have processes, we do have laws, and we should just go ahead and use those.
It is stances like that are contributing to the extreme unpopularity of the Democrats. These people.
And even, I agree with what he just said. Why are we even debating about this? Like, why are we even forced to have this conversation? There was a video, matter of fact, I should play the video. Hold on. There was a video with Stephen A. Smith and talking to Tom Homan. Let me see. Do I have that video? Stephen A. Smith is talking to Tom Homan. Let me see if I have that video, because he breaks down, and maybe we'll just play it after this. But he's talking to Tom Homan. Tom Homan's breaking down why, in his opinion, Joe Biden wanted to bring a lot of the migrants here. So they would count on a census, so that way they would allow certain states to have more representation. Hopefully those people who end up becoming voters, their kids, and even them, and with the state and local elections, ultimately, maybe eventually with the presidential election, it was a strategy for them to bring more Democratic voters in. So when I say, why do we even have to have this conversation? I'm saying, why is this an issue? And maybe reminding ourselves why it's an issue, because Joe Biden, the Democrats, for whatever reason, felt that it was a good thing, to bring in a lot of people, even though our cities, our country does not have the infrastructure to take care of a lot of these people. And we're already in, what, $36 trillion worth of debt? So we're already in $36 trillion worth of debt. And Joe Biden and the Democrats believe that this is just a great time to just incentivize people to come here. Don't worry, we'll take care of you. We'll pay for your food. We'll pay for your housing. We'll get y'all set up with a job. We'll even create some dope programs that y'all can help y'all buy homes, all these different things. All of these different things. Why were they doing it? Do we think, and this is the whole mindset, well, Democrats are they're just nicer to brown and black people. Why were they doing these things? It's clear. Why were they strategically putting them in certain places to hopefully get more Democrats in those particular areas? This is why they were trying to just bring in voters. That's it. They were just trying to bring in voters. Let's keep going. Hold on. I want to see if I can find this Stephen A. video, because I think it's just a good video that highlights Tom Homan and his discussion. Hold on. If I can find it very quickly, then cool. If not, I'll just play it for you guys later. No worries. Let me scroll a couple more, see if I see it. I do not. All right. So I'll look for that in the background. Maybe we'll play it afterwards. I'm sure I'll find it as soon as I start this video back up, but I don't want too much downtime. So we'll keep going.
People are so Trump deranged, they're so anti-Trump, that not standing for children who are surviving brain cancer wasn't enough. They had to stoop even lower. They are fighting for the rights, if you can even call it that, of violent illegal immigrant gang members.
All right. So, of course, I told y'all I found it. Let me play that clip that I was telling y'all about real quickly. And I just want y'all to hear from Tom Homan. I thought it was relevant. I think it's relevant to the conversation. Let's hear from Tom Homan.
Have you received any kind of explanation as to why former President Biden literally went?
And the reason why, let me set the table one more time. Why are we forced to have this debate? That's why I asked the question, why are we forced to have this debate? We'll sit here and the Democrats will argue and say, oh, they're doing it the wrong way. They're getting rid of it. Do y'all even acknowledge the fact that y'all created the problem and that you strategically created the problem out of selfishness for your party and prioritizing your party above the American people? Like, are we going to take any accountability with that? Maybe not.
Against what former President Barack Obama did during his presidency. And the numbers show he actually
I'm with that.
Deported more immigrants out of this country than Trump did. Yet Biden comes into office in 2020 and he went completely against what Obama had done. You ever received intel explanation as to why he did that?
You know, that's a great question. You're the first ones to ask me that question, right? Now, I surmise, I have an opinion that I think this administration thought these millions of people are going to be future Democratic voters. But one of the things Biden also did, in addition to destroying all the programs we put in place to give us a more secure border, he overturned the Trump census rule, which means millions of people they've released in sanctuary cities will be counted in the next census, which is going to result in what? More seats in House for the Dems. So I truly believe they saw a future political benefit from this. But you're exactly right. And I've said this. Why do I think he did it on purpose? Because Joe Biden was vice president under Barack Obama when he had those record removals. Alejandro Mayorkas was a deputy secretary under Obama when he had those removals. And we had families. We had thousands of families coming across the border every day. How did we stop it? We built family residential centers. We held them long enough to see a judge. 90% lost a case, 90%. So we put them in an airplane, sent them home, border numbers tanked. So both those men knew how we solved that crisis. When they came back in as now the secretary and the president, what did they do? The complete opposite. They didn't detain, they released. They didn't make them see a judge, and they weren't removing them.
So I don't know if y'all peeped that. I don't even know if I peeped it the first time, but what he's saying is that they already knew, Biden knew exactly how to solve this problem. He had already solved it with Barack, who now it's known that he deported far more people than Donald Trump. So he knew how to solve the problem. So once again, we're put in a position where that we always talk about intelligent people doing things that just don't make sense. Intelligent people making decisions and doing things that just don't make sense. You already solved this problem. You already aced this math question. You already got this question right. Now later on in the test, you get it wrong, or on the next test, it was a simple question. You figured out, you put a lot of time, effort, and energy into studying. You already figured this out. You know it now. But then you not only get it wrong, but you do the opposite. It just doesn't make any sense. So in my opinion, I'm to the point where I know in my head, I know now, of course you could say, well, how do you know? But I have a strong feeling that I strongly agree with this. This was strategic. Most of the things that are done are strategic. I think it's a little bit naive of us to think that these people are just dumb. How did you fix it then? And then you didn't. No, I think that it's all strategic, and it's all of these smaller actions are typically based on a larger play.
So they did the complete opposite of what they knew worked under President Obama.
All right, so let's keep going with Brandon Lehman's video. We'll watch a little bit more of that before we wrap up.
So Trump had 3 planes chock full of violent gang members en route to El Salvador because El Salvador's president said, we'll happily take these guys, put them in our maximum security prison.
And let me just make sure that I catch up with the comments. So yeah, and let's talk about that studio for sure. Zappa wrote, it was all done by design. It was done to try and create one party rule in the country. They failed. I agree. They failed.
And let them be our problem. And mid-flight, this Obama activist judge issues a ruling trying to get these planes to turn around. Spoiler alert, they did land in El Salvador, but it prompted the president of El Salvador to post this on X. He said, oopsies, too late. I mean, I don't know what else to do but laugh at that. Please smash the like button if you.
All right, so for all y'all that are not familiar with what he's talking about, and I have another clip that shows. I think he may even show some of the clips on here. But Trump, they got rid of these people that they suspected or confirmed in their mind. Obviously, we can go back and forth on that. That were gang members of a particular gang that's been causing some problems in America. Let's just say that. Trump gets rid of them, and then you have one of the judges, or I didn't know that it happened like this, or I don't know if it, did. I trust my boy's words, but for my own sake, I gotta make sure that I do my due diligence when it comes to were they already on their way? Did Trump get the order and he still sent the plane? I don't know. Either way, it is a little bit funny that in these situations, this is why I asked the question initially, like, how are we even going back and forth about this? Why are we going back and forth about this? So it is a little bit. Y'all know what it is. It's Dak from the OG Network. Man, I just want to thank y'all. That's right, to thank y'all for all of your tremendous support over the years, whether you've been rocking with us from the beginning or maybe this is the first show that you're checking out on the network. We want to thank you nonetheless. And we have an ask, all right? We have a goal of reaching 20,000 subscribers by the end of March. That's right, 20K by the end of March. It's not a real goal unless you put a date on it. And with that, we need your help. So we ask that if you are enjoying the content that you like, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're feeling real generous, maybe share with some friends and family. All right, I'll let y'all go. And once again, thank you for your continued support. And we look forward to growing with y'all. See y'all soon. You got Jasmine Crockett and the judge fighting to get people back here that are suspected gang members and criminals. They're fighting to bring them back here. We want them here. No, we want that. It's like, why do we even end up? There's so many other things to be fighting for. How do we end up in this position fighting over this?
You enjoyed that. I mean, how diabolical, how anti-American, how delusional do you have to be to think that you're the good guy for ordering violent gang members who illegally broke into the country to
get
be
them
returned
likes
back
up.
to the
Queen
United
said, get them
States?
likes up.
And to add insult to injury of President Bukele's amazing oopsies too late tweet, they posted this video of the planes arriving and the criminals being sent to their maximum security prison. Let me show you a snippet of that.
Make sure y'all like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Appreciate y'all. This might look crazy. Isn't it funny how, and make sure y'all like and subscribe, but isn't it funny how, I'm sorry, I just thought about this because we were having a conversation about the whole Me Too movement and how Me Too was a movement that you assumed guilt rather than innocence, right? You questioning if saying anything about whether or not the woman was telling the truth in the Me Too movement, you questioning anything got you in trouble. That was the whole point behind the Me Too movement. Believe all women, right? So it's just funny to me how that Democratic leaning, liberal leaning mindset now is so compassionate for these people as far as innocent until guilty, having their day in court before we perceive them as guilty. It's just interesting how all this stuff, and I know I shouldn't be connecting all these dots. One doesn't always have to do with the other. Sometimes these things just come to my mind and I just share them with y'all. Sorry. This thing looked like a Netflix documentary trailer where they had a musical.
So Trump invoked the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to expedite this whole process of getting these vicious, violent gang members out of our country. And Democrats want to argue, oh no, they're owed fair trial, due process, spend taxpayer money to take these people to court. These aren't random people they're snatching off the street. These are known criminals who have committed crimes in the United States and are known gang members associated with these organizations. They hate Americans so much and stand for illegals so much that they're the only ones who can view 12 million people illegally coming across the country in 4 years as not an invasion. And this is just one of many lack of common sense issues that the Democrats are deciding they are going to die on this hill, and this is what their party represents. Leading to this NBC poll coming out today, showing that the Democrat Party has hit a brand new all-time record low.
So think about the video that we showed earlier. This may be a similar video, actually. Is this the same one that we showed earlier? Who knows?
Look at the numbers here for Democrats. 27% positive, more than double, 55% negative. And we'll just put this on a graph for you in our poll here. This goes back a long ways. And
look at that graph of where the Democrats are right now. And you got Hakeem Jeffries talking about the Democrats have the Republicans on the run. Like, he's literally the guy in the locker room. We're getting blown out by 50. And he's sitting here like, yo, we cut it to 45 or they missed their last shot. I know it went up to 52, but they missed their last shot. They're getting tired. They're getting cold now. We got them on the run. It's like, bro, yeah, they're getting tired. The guy just dropped 40 points on us.
you can see the trend line for both parties. This is what's happened to the Democrats since the election.
That is astonishing, Steve. That's an historic low, right?
That is in more than 30 years of this poll. We've never seen either party.
And it looks like the feelings towards both political parties are down a bit. But I'm just not surprised with Trump's going down based on the things that he's looking to implement, how aggressively he's solving a lot of these problems. I'm not surprised that the Republican numbers went down. I'm not.
Party hit a number this low in terms of
Hey, but let the Democrats tell it, they just have a messaging problem. They've somehow convinced themselves that every position that they're
All right,
taking
we'll watch one
is
more
somehow
clip,
exactly what the American people want.
and then we'll get out of here.
Record low.
Our new NBC News poll, as you just saw, shows the Democratic Party at an all-time low approval rating. Why do you think Democrats are failing to connect with Americans at this critical moment of urgency, which you describe?
Well, it's what I just talked about. I mean, I think Americans want the Democratic Party to stand up and fight and to take risks. Listen, I understand that had we gone into a shutdown, even for a handful of days, it would have been difficult. But it would have sent a message that the Democratic Party is not going to be bullied by Donald Trump. We are not going to let them write spending bills unilaterally that cut programs for people we care about, that give the president new and extraordinary power. I think Democrats in this country, but I think the broad middle of the public as well, want to see our party fighting in exceptional ways. That is the conversation that has to happen inside of the Democratic Party, inside our caucus. And if we don't get that right, if we continue to work with Republicans, if we continue to hand Donald Trump more power, we are going to lose our democracy.
So even though ever since Donald Trump was inaugurated, the Democrat approval rating has been on a steady free fall, which correlates directly to their anti-Trump, opposed Trump stance, they still assume that the American people want them to fight.
And this is my thing with the Democrats. You're supposed to be the party of the people. You're supposed to be a party of the people. You're supposed to respect the will of the people. What the people let y'all know that this is the direction that we want to head in. This is what you're supposed to represent. But when the people are clearly showing that they have no confidence in y'all, y'all are still going up here as aggressive as ever. You would think that would be a time, hey, why don't we step away from the cameras a little bit? Why don't we reflect? Why don't we figure out the direction that we want to go in? Why don't we set some new foundational values and principles? Why don't we create our own plan and vision for the future moving forward? Maybe we'll call it Project 2026. I don't know. But for them to be the party of democracy and be so out of touch with the actual people to the point where it's just obnoxious. The arrogance to call yourself the party of the people, and the people are clearly letting y'all know that they're not approving of the things that you're doing. They're not approving of your leadership. Nobody likes y'all. Nobody likes y'all. But y'all don't seem to reflect inward. Do we think Hakeem Jeffries is jumping up, or when he looks in the mirror, he's saying, you know what, we got to do some stuff better? Do you think that they're talking to each other and saying, you know, a lot of this stuff we've been pushing, it's nonsense, it's ridiculous. We got to figure this stuff out. It's Dak. Just want to thank you for checking out our video and visiting the OG Network. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure that you give us a like. And if you're looking to join a community of inspired individuals striving for purposeful abundance, subscribe. And if you're feeling real generous, share the video with some friends and family. All right, I'll see y'all soon. Ew.